Hello everyone, I'm Mary from Susan's family. Today, I'm sharing with you Dahra shawl. For this electronic tutorial, you can find it on the website by searching en001.com. This shawl comes in two sizes. Both sizes are divided into the main part, the connection, and the edging. The methods for both sizes are similar. The difference is in the number of rows. I'll explain using the larger size as an example. This shawl is crocheted using 2 strands of yarn together. You can see that each ball of yarn has a yarn tail on both the outside and inside. When crocheting, you can use the yarn from 2 balls outside together, or from both the outside and inside of one ball. First, crochet the main part. The main part consists of 2 identical main pieces. The main piece begin with the foundation chain method. Work back and forth along the foundation chain. There are many new stitches used, so I won't explain them one by one. Please watch my demonstration of the specific crochet method. Before we start crocheting, let's learn the proper posture first. To make it clearer for you, I will demonstrate using cotton yarn. For specific yarn, color choices, and hook sizes, please refer to the detail page of our product and the paper instructions. First, let's work foundation chain. Note, this is using different yarns held together. Wrap the yarn around your left little finger, then thread it through between the middle finger and index finger. Next, pinch the yarn tail with your thumb and middle finger. Hold the crochet hook in your right hand and place it below the yarn. Wrap the yarn counterclockwise. With your left thumb and middle finger, pinch the crossing point of the loop. Place the hook to the left of the yarn. Yarn over. Pull the yarn through. Be mindful not to come loose. This slip knot does not count as a stitch. Slightly tighten. Now start crocheting chains. Yarn over and pull through. A chain is completed. Such a braid represents 1 stitch. Continue crocheting chains. Yarn over and pull through. One chain is completed. This is the second stitch. Repeat this process. Continue crocheting chains all the way down to the required stitch count. I have now completed the foundation chain. For the sample, I used fewer foundation chains. Please follow the actual crocheting. Due to the special yarn, please count the stitches slowly. The foundation chain is now complete. Let's look at the chain stitch. On the right side, the chain stitch forms a V-shaped braid. There are 2 strands up and down. This is called a loop. Now let's work the first row. First, chain 3 as the turning chain for double crochet. Find the 5th stitch from the hook. It's here. Yarn over. Insert the hook into the top loop. Yarn over. Pull the yarn through. There are 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through the first 2 loops. There are now 2 loops left on the hook. Yarn over, pull through once. That completes 1 double crochet. Corresponding to the right above, there's a V-shaped braid. This is the stitch of the double crochet. Next, insert the hook into the top loop. Work a double crochet. Yarn over. Insert into the top loop. Yarn over. Pull the yarn through. Yarn over again. Pull through the first 2 loops. Repeat twice. That completes another double crochet. Continue by inserting into the top loop. Work a double crochet, 1 stitch to another. We will continue all the way to the second to last chain of this row. Now there is only 1 stitch left, since we need to switch colors for the next row. For aesthetics, we need to complete an incomplete double crochet to switch colors. Yarn over. Pull through. There are 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops. This completes an incomplete double crochet. Next, take out the yarn needed for the second row. Here is my sample. The color is not for reference. Hang the yarn with your left hand. Leave some yarn tail. Place it underneath the loops. Pull the yarn through the loop. Then cut the original yarn. This completes the first row. Slightly tighten the yarn tail. You can see the texture on one side is clearer. The texture on the other side is blurry. We will treat the clear side as the right side. After completing, check the stitch count. You can count the stitches. The number of stitches is how many you have crocheted. Add the turning chain. The stitch count should match the number of foundation chains. Next, crochet the second row. First, make 3 turning chains. These 3 chains correspond to the double crochet stitches below. When crocheting, be mindful not to let the yarn slip off. Turn the piece. You can see that on the wrong side, the double crochet stitches are located at the top left. Continue by making 1 chain. This chain corresponds to the double crochet stitch on the left. Next, skip this double crochet stitch. Crochet 1 double crochet in the next stitch. Finish with 1 chain. This row is a repeat of 1 double crochet and 1 chain. Skip the stitch corresponding to the chain from the previous row. Keep crocheting down. As you can see, there are 1 double crochet stitch and a turning chain left on the left side. After finishing the chain, the entry position for the last double crochet is on the turning chain. Find the third braid of the turning chain. Pick up 2 strands. If you can't find the exact position, just insert the hook in an approximate position. No need to change colors for the next round, so crochet 1 double crochet. The second row is finished. Now let's start the third row. Make 3 turning chains. Turn the piece. 1 chain stitch as a bridge. The turning chain and this chain correspond to the double crochet stitch and this chain stitch below. Then crochet 1 double crochet in the next double crochet stitch. Follow with 1 chain. The method for this row is similar to the second row. Crochet double crochets in the double crochet stitches, with 1 chain in between as a bridge. Continue crocheting. There is 1 stitch left now. Since we need to change colors for the next round, we will use an incomplete double crochet to complete the color change. Find the third chain from the turning chain. Pick up 2 strands. Pull the yarn through. If you can't find the exact spot, just estimate the position. I won't repeat this explanation later. Yarn over. Pull the yarn through. Then pick up the yarn needed for the next row. I will still use a sample to demonstrate. Refer to the chart for the specific colors. Place the new yarn with a 10 cm tail underneath the loops. Pull the yarn through. Leave a 10 cm tail of the original yarn and cut it. Tighten the loops. Smooth it out. Row 3 is completed. Now let's start row 4. Make 3 turning chains. Turn the piece. 3 chains. We need to make a DC2 tog. First, make 2 incomplete double crochets. Start with the first one. The entry position is in the chain space on the left side. Insert the hook into the space. Work it. The first incomplete double crochet is done. Continue with the second one. Skip 1 chain space on the left side. Insert the hook into the second chain space. The second one is completed. There are now 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through once. 1 DC2 tog is done. Next, chain 3 as a bridge. Work another DC2 tog. Start with 2 incomplete double crochets. Note the entry position is still in this chain space. The first one is completed. The second one is separated by a chain space. Insert the hook in the second chain space on the left side. Yarn over, pull through once. The second DC2 tog is completed. Next, chain 3. This row is repeated, DC2 tog and 3 chains. Each time, the first incomplete double crochet of the next DC2 tog is inserted in the same space as the second incomplete double crochet of the just completed one. That is this position. Skip 1 chain space, insert for the second incomplete double crochet to complete the DC2 tog. Follow this pattern. Continue all the way to the last DC2 tog. I have now reached the corresponding position. 2 chains. 1 double crochet remaining. Since the next round requires a color change, remember to switch colors. Cut the original yarn. Row 4 is completed. Now let's start row 5. Make 3 turning chains. Turn the piece. Continue with 1 chain. Then 1 double crochet in the first chain space below. After that, 1 double crochet in the DC2 tog stitch below. That is this position. There is the space of 3 chains. Correspondingly, work 3 double crochets in this space. One double crochet. Three double crochets. One double crochet. Two chains. We consider from the first double crochet to the end of the chains as one group. The rest is repeating these groups. One double crochet. Refer to the chart and continue crocheting. There is one last chain space remaining. In the space on the left side, work 2 double crochets first. There is 1 double crochet remaining. The insertion point is the third chain from the turning chain. Row 5 is completed. For rows 6 to 8, work corresponding double crochets and chains. These rows are all crocheted in the same color yarn. No need to switch colors. Refer to the chart and crochet. Since row 9 requires new yarn, remember to switch colors at the last stitch of row 8. Crochet all the way through row 8. Now let's crochet row 9. Note that the row count in my sample is not for reference. I'm only explaining the method. First, make 3 turning chains. Then, work 1 double crochet in the next double crochet stitch. Complete with 2 chains. Next, work 1 DC2 tog. Similarly, start with 2 incomplete double crochets. Pay attention to the insertion position. For the first one, the insertion position is in the same stitch as the last completed double crochet. This completes the first incomplete double crochet. Then, skip 3 stitches and work into the next stitch. Work the second incomplete double crochet. Then, yarn over, pull through all loops at once. That completes the DC2 tog, complete with 3 chains. Continue with the DC2 tog. Pay attention to the insertion position. It's the same insertion position as the second incomplete double crochet from the previous set. Right here. Work the second one. Skip 3 stitches. A braid counts as 1 stitch. After each DC2 tog, make 3 chains. Everyone, complete row 9, using this method. Row 9 is done. For row 10, work double crochets in the stitches and chain spaces. The method is similar to before. Keep going until you finish row 10. Remember to switch colors at the end. Now, work on row 11. This row introduces a new stitch technique. Single crochet. First, make 1 turning chain. This turning chain does not count as a stitch. Then, work 1 single crochet in the first stitch. Insert the hook. Yarn over and pull the yarn through. There are now 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull through the loops. The single crochet is completed. Next, skip 3 stitches. Work 2 double crochets in the 4th stitch. Make 1 chain. Continue with 2 more double crochets. Note that the insertion point for all these stitches is the same. Consider these 4 double crochets and the chain in between as a pattern A. After completing pattern A, skip 3 stitches. Work 1 single crochet in the next stitch. Let me demonstrate the single crochet technique again. Insert the hook. Yarn over. Pull through. Another single crochet completed. Continue by skipping 3 stitches. Work the pattern A. Two double crochets. When making double crochets, pay attention. Don't pull too tight to prevent the piece from wrinkling. 1 chain. 2 double crochets. Pay attention to the insertion point. This row is repeated single crochets and pattern A. Between each single crochet and pattern A, skip 3 stitches. Work all the way down to the second to last single crochet of this row. Now on the left side, there is 1 double crochet stitch and the turning chain. 1 chain. Then work a single crochet in the turning chain. Note: the next row requires switching colors, so here, finish with an incomplete single crochet to switch colors. Here, you need an incomplete single crochet. Insert the hook and pull the yarn through. The incomplete single crochet is done. Next, join the yarn. Take out the yarn for the next row. Pull the yarn through. Cut the yarn. Tighten the tail. Row 11 is complete. Next, work on row 12. First, make 3 turning chains. Next, you'll encounter a new stitch, DC3 bobble. For convenience, we'll call it a bobble stitch. First, create 3 incomplete double crochets. The method is the same as before. The entry position is on the single crochet to the left of the chain. That is, on this single crochet. One. 2. 3. After completing the 3 incomplete double crochets, there are 4 loops on the hook. Yarn over, pull through all at once. 1 bobble stitch is complete. 3 chains. Next is another bobble stitch. The entry position is in the same stitch. 1. 2. 3. After making 3 incomplete double crochets, pull through once. Another bobble stitch is complete. We consider the 2 bobble stitches in the same stitch, and the 3 chains in between as pattern B. Next, 2 chains. Work pattern B in the stitch of a single crochet, with 2 chains separating each pattern B. Finish this row at the last 2 chains. When making bobble stitches, don't pull too tight to prevent the pieces from wrinkling. Now I have reached the corresponding position. Make the last 2 chains. Then, work a bobble stitch in the last single crochet. One chain. 1 double crochet. Note the color change. Row 12 is done. Now work row 13. Start with 1 chain as the turning chain for a single crochet. Work 1 single crochet first. Then work 2 double crochets in the left chain space. One chain. 2 double crochets. We consider the stitches worked in this chain space as pattern C. Pattern C is similar to pattern A, but the entry position is different. After completing it, work 1 single crochet in the space between pattern B. This row is about repeating single crochets in space of pattern B. In the chain space between pattern B, work pattern C. The method is simple. Keep crocheting until the last single crochet of this row. Now I have reached the corresponding position. 1 chain. You can see there is 1 single crochet left in this row. The next row requires switching colors, and one of the colors for the next row matches the one in this row. It is also crocheted with 2 strands together. First, crochet an incomplete single crochet. Then take the other yarn end. Form 2 strands of the same color. Cut off the yarn that is not needed. Pull the yarn through. This completes the color change. Row 13 is now completed. Continue with row 14. Make 2 chains as the turning chain. Turn the piece. 1 chain as a transition. Work a double crochet. Pay attention to the insertion point for this double crochet. It is in the chain space of pattern B. When crocheting, wrap around the single crochet from the previous row. Then make 3 chains. Work a single crochet in the chain stitch of pattern C. Three chains. Continue by working a double crochet in the chain space of pattern B. Three chains. Work a single crochet in the chain stitch of pattern C. Keep crocheting all the way down. The last double crochet. Worked into the single crochet. Row 14 is completed. For the larger size, rows 15 to 21 are similar as before. Refer to the chart and crochet accordingly. Finish crocheting. For the smaller size, pay attention after completing row 19. From rows 20 to 31, do not crochet. Start directly from row 32. For the larger size, there's no need to skip. Crochet normally. Here, I will continue explaining the larger size. After finishing row 21, you can see that the beginning and ending have 2 chain spaces. The rest are 3 chain spaces. Whether it's 2 chains or 3 chains, they count as 1 chain space. When you finish this row, there should be a total of 71 chain spaces. You can check to make sure you haven't made any mistakes. Now, I'll show you a method for joining yarn. While crocheting, if you run out of yarn, take new yarn, leaving about 10 centimeters of yarn tails. Combine them and tie a knot. Then continue crocheting normally. Make sure the knot doesn't show on the right side of the fabric. You can hide the yarn tails on the wrong side later. If you encounter a knot in the yarn, you can cut it out. Just follow this method for joining the yarn. From row 22 to row 30, no color changes are needed. Just refer to the chart and crochet. Pay attention to the single crochets in row 24. They are worked into the 7 chain space from the previous row, for the 3 single crochets in row 25. And the 5 single crochets in row 26. The single crochets on both sides are worked into the chain spaces on either side. The middle single crochets are worked into the stitches. Continue crocheting until row 32. Now let's crochet row 33. First, make 3 turning chains. Turn the piece. Then, 1 double crochet. 1 chain. From the turning chain to the current position. 1 stitch to another. That is, matching the 3 stitches below. Continue to skip 1 stitch. Start the new stitch technique on the 5th stitch, DC 3-in-1. That is, in the same stitch, work 3 double crochets. 1, 2, 3. The DC 3-in-1 is completed. Then, make 1 chain. On the left side, continue to skip 3 stitches unworked. Start on the 4th stitch. Another DC 3-in-1 is completed. 1 chain. This row is repeated with DC 3-in-1 and chains. Between each DC 3-in-1, remember to skip 3 stitches unworked. Row 34 and row 35 have no new stitch techniques. Later on, you can refer to the chart to complete rows 33 to 35. Crocheting is finished. Now let's crochet row 36. Start with 3 chains as the turning chain. 1 chain. Next, we encounter a DC2 tog. Similarly, crochet 2 incomplete double crochets first. Note that the insertion points for these 2 holes are on either side of the single crochet, not into the stitch itself. That is here and here. The DC2 tog is completed. 3 chains. 1 single crochet. 3 chains. Next, another DC2 tog is needed. Similarly, the insertion points are on either side of the single crochet. The crocheting method from here is simple. Refer to the chart and crochet all the way to row 48. After completing row 48, now let's crochet row 49. First, work 4 turning chains. These 4 chains count as 1 treble crochet, then 2 chains. 1 double crochet. 3 chains. Next, crochet 1 treble crochet. The insertion point is in the single crochet from the previous row. Yarn over twice. Insert the hook. Yarn over. Pull the yarn through. Yarn over. Pull through twice. There are now 2 loops on the hook. Yarn over again. Pull through once. A treble crochet is complete. The loops above to the right is the stitch of the treble crochet. Continue with 3 chains. 1 double crochet. 3 chains. Let me demonstrate the technique for treble crochet again. Yarn over twice. Pull through 3 times in order. Another treble crochet is complete. Continue this way all the way down. Everyone continue to crochet rows 49 and 50. The last stitch is a double crochet. Find the fourth chain of the turning chain. Make 1 double crochet. Row 50 ends. Secure with a chain. Pull tight. Leave about 10 centimeters of yarn tail before cutting the yarn. Up to this point, one main piece is completed. Everyone follow the same method. Crochet the other main piece as well. Note: do not cut the yarn after completing. Connect both main pieces after they are both completed. The connection is done using single crochets and chains. The stitches used include slip stitches. Now, please watch my demonstration of the specific crochet method. Before crocheting, we need to mark the position first. Determine the joining position. Place both pieces with the right sides facing out. The main piece without cutting the yarn should be on the below. Count the double crochets in the last row from the left side. The turning chain also counts as 1 double crochet. Make a mark on the 44th double crochet. The stitch count is smaller in the sample. Please refer to the actual count. Cut a piece of waste yarn. Tie a knot around the double crochet stem. This marks the position on the main piece below. Mark the piece above using the same method. The right of marked spot is where you need to connect. Now, make 1 chain as the beginning chain. Then, work 1 single crochet in the left stitch. Two chains. Find the corresponding position above. In third stitch of the turning chain, work 1 single crochet. If you can't find the exact position, an approximation is fine. Continue with 1 single crochet in the chain space on the left. Two chains. Work 1 single crochet in the chain space below. Up to this point, the first chain space on both pieces is completed. From here on, repeat in the chain spaces on both pieces. Work a single crochet, connect with 2 chains, keep going all the way down. When you have crocheted about half of the shawl, you can try it on to check. See if the length fits properly. This connection point can be adjusted. As long as the number of marked double crochets is even, you can follow the finished product, or adjust based on your own situation. It won't affect the subsequent crocheting. Crochet to the second chain spaces right of the marked position. When you reach the corresponding position, work 2 chains, followed by a slip stitch. Insert the hook into the double crochet stitch right of the marked one. Insert. Yarn over. Pull through all loops at once. Slip stitch completed. Then secure with a chain. This connection is now complete. I have a sample here. The stitch count is smaller. When you connect in practice, the stitch count will be larger. Next, weave in the ends along the texture of the shawl. Weave in the yarn tails on the sides of the 2 main pieces using the same method. Finally, crochet the edging. The edging is worked back and forth. The first row needs to be crocheted on the wrong side. The crocheting method for different sizes is similar. The new stitches used include the HDC3 puff and DC5-in-1. Please watch me demonstrate the specific crocheting method. First, crochet the first row. Make sure the right side of the shawl faces out. The connection position is on the right side. We start by joining yarn on the wrong side of the top piece. Hang the yarn on the left hand. Pull the yarn through. Make a turning chain. We can see that the side is made up of these DC stems. T are stems, chain spaces, and single crochets. When you encounter a DC stem and a 3 chain space, make 2 single crochets. So make 2 single crochets in this stem. While crocheting, you can place the yarn tail over the hook. Weave in the ends as you go. Here we have a 4 chain space. You need to make 3 single crochets. Next is the single crochet section. Make 1 single crochet in approximately the right position. Everyone follow this method. Continue all the way to the last 3 chain space on this side. After making 2 single crochets, you've now reached the corner. You can see there are 2 strands left here. First, make 3 single crochets in the corner position. Pick an approximate position. Then move on to the other side. Work single crochets in each stitch in sequence. Due to the special yarn, just keep the piece flat when crocheting. No need to count stitches. It's okay if you miss a stitch or 2. Refer to the chart. Continue crocheting until you reach the connection point. Note that you need to make 3 single crochets at the corner. Now we've reached the connection point. Work 2 single crochets into the chain space. After completing the connection, continue using the previous method. Apart from single crochets and treble crochets, the rest will be worked with 2 single crochets. The first row is now complete. Next, work on the second row. Make 1 chain as your turning chain. Turn the piece. 1 single crochet. Then 6 chains. Find the third stitch from the hook. Pick up the top loop and work a HDC3 puff. Yarn over. Insert. Pull the yarn through. An incomplete half double crochet is completed. Continue with the second one. Yarn over. Pull the yarn through. Continue with another one. Yarn over. Pull through all loops at once. A HDC3 puff is completed. Then a chain. Work a slip stitch in the same insertion position as the just completed HDC3 puff stitch. Then continue with 3 chains. We consider the stitches from 6 chains to where we've crocheted as a puff. After completing a puff, skip 2 stitches below. Start from the 3rd stitch and crochet 3 single crochets. Once done, continue with more puffs. Let me demonstrate the puff stitch again. First, crochet 6 chains. Then find the third chain from the hook. Begin the HDC 3 puff stitch. Crochet 3 incomplete half double crochets first. One, 2, 3. Pull through all loops at once. Then 1 chain. 1 slip stitch. 3 chains. The second puff is completed. Below each puff, skip 2 stitches. Continue with 3 single crochets. Everyone will now repeat the puffs and 3 single crochets. Continue until you finish the last puff on this side. Now I have completed the last puff. You can see that there is 1 stitch left. Before the corner of 3 single crochets, due to individual crochet tension differences, the number of stitches left may vary. This is not a problem. If there are more stitches left, we can work puff at the ending position earlier. Skip 1 more stitch, skip 3 stitches, or crochet another puff, skip 1 stitch. Either method works. Just ensure that the position where you crocheted 3 single crochets in the previous row still has 3 single crochets, and make sure the puffs are roughly divided on both sides of the corner. The corner position is special. Everyone should crochet using this method. After completing the 3 single crochets at the corner, continue crocheting puffs normally. Continue crocheting using this method until you finish the last puff in this row. The principle for this row is to crochet 3 single crochets at the corner ones. Distribute the puffs on both sides of the corner. You can adjust the number of skipped stitches as needed. Now I have completed the last puff. Similarly, there can be 2 or 3 remaining stitches on the left side. If there are more than 3 stitches, make an adjustment a bit earlier. Follow the previous method to ensure that the row ends with a puff. Then, crochet a slip stitch into the double crochet stitch. After the slip stitch is completed, now let's crochet the inside. Here we use a new stitch technique, DC 5-in-1. That means working 5 double crochets into one stitch. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. The DC 5-in-1 is completed, then crochet a slip stitch. Everyone continue crocheting using this method. Now we're at the marked position. Continue with the DC 5-in-1. Then crochet a slip stitch in the middle position, where it connects. After completing, continue at the marked position. Crochet 1 DC 5-in-1. This double crochet stitch is not needed. Then crochet a slip stitch. Continue crocheting normally. Keep crocheting all the way down this side. The last double crochet. I am now at the corresponding position. The last slip stitch is crocheted into the chain space. Crochet a chain to secure. Cut the yarn. Weave in the ends. Remove the marker from its position. Up to this point, the edging is fully explained. If you want the shawl to be flatter, you can also gently iron it. Up to this point, this shawl is fully explained. If you have any questions during the process, don't hesitate to reach us via our website. Susan's Family, supporting your handwork experience, sharing the joy of life. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode.